players, pick more or less on their statistics, and boom, you are in the game in 60 seconds or less. I'm looking at Monday night slate with Tampa Bay and Kansas City, and right now I'm looking at Baker Mayfield going less than 237.5 yards and Patrick Mahomes going more on 1.5 touchdowns. It's going to be a good battle. And as a Bucs fan, I love to see it. And you can sign up with Prize Picks and use our promo code UNFAIR, which is on the screen, and you'll get $50 instantly whenever you play your first $5 lineup. They make it very simple to play. Again, 50 seconds to 60 seconds or less, and you're going to get started. So check them out. Go to prizepicks.com and use our code UNFAIR to receive a guaranteed $50 once you play your $5 lineup. Prize Picks, daily fantasy sports made easy. Can we keep the winning streak going? We're going to talk about that and more here on the Sooner or Later Sports Show. Thank you all for pulling up. That is Coop. I am Jay. Thanks for pulling up here on the YouTube channel and listening wherever podcasts are downloaded and listened to. While you're here, please wipe your feet. Like, subscribe, rate, review. Give us 5 stars. You don't think we deserve it? Let's go ahead and give us 5 anyway and gift it. So, Coop, we've got a fun episode today. We got a lot of good stuff to talk about. We're going to lead off with the conversation around the Missouri game this coming weekend as the odds makers decide to make us the favorites in the game. We just got an injury report update. Sounds like some players are actually going to play. And we'll look at what we need to do to actually win this Missouri game. So, Coop, it is a beautiful Thursday. How you doing, my man?
I feel like I'm doing good, Jay. It's been about 25, 30 straight days work-wise to where it's just you feel like you got zipped up in a punching bag. And man, it's getting towards the holiday season. Kind of feels good there, but I had a thought. Even though we've been through this entire season, here in a couple weeks, we're not going to have any more Sooner football.
Not gonna lie, it does feel like Mariah Carey's ruining everything for us. She has defrosted a little bit earlier than I wanted.
Put her back on ice, but no, man. Otherwise, I'm pretty good, brother. I'm excited to be here with you, and neither of us are traveling, and that's good, I guess.
Yeah, it's probably the best feeling in the world is I'm not traveling right now. It's like I'm tired today. Today was one of those work days of nonstop. Over and over and over and over and over and over again and over and over. I felt like Marshawn Lynch just running through a mug's face. That's what it felt like. I was getting ran through my face today. It was just ridiculous. But I'll say this. We got football this weekend. So I'm excited. Sooners, we've got Missouri. We're reviving an old, I guess you could say, rivalry. I don't know why y'all did that to us, but whatever. Shout out to Prize Picks for sponsoring the live streams. You can check them out. Link in description below. Use the code UNFAIR and you'll get $50 guaranteed after your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, daily fantasy sports made easy. Coop, where you want to start? You want to start with the fact that I'm trying to figure out why these people decide to make this a rivalry with Missouri, or do you want to go right into the injury report and talk about some good stuff?
Let's rekindle our Big 12 brethren. Trying to just, here's the thing is you need a little bit more story, more entangling of OU and Texas into some of these SEC folks. It's like we didn't really ever, we kind of just beat the hell out of A&M so consistently in the 77-0. It's like, well, that's not really a rivalry, right? And then
Right.
Arkansas's, geographically, sure, Southwest Conference, man.
We like them.
Yeah, they're there. But I just think that it's the most likely. That's all there is to it. You're not going to match us up with Florida because there's really not much there. You're not going to match us up with Vandy because I don't know. Maybe I want to be Vandy when we grow up.
That's Tennessee's. We can't take that one. That's their hatred. They
That's
keep
their-
that. They own it.
So, I understand why they're trying to do, and that's Stephen. You are 100% right. It's Twitter has fueled that fire. Just over the, obviously since the smoke with Caden Green, and so there is going to be some. There's going to be this game is something that I think the coaching staff they knew where this was on the calendar.
Yeah, it was one of those that was circled in preparation for it. But sure thing. I'll give that to everybody on the Twitterverse with the battles they had. But I'll say this, man, it's gonna be a fun one this weekend. As I mentioned before, the odds makers have flipped it around. When I looked at the latest line, it's been circling in between 2.5 and 3. And I guess we should jump into these availabilities because when I looked at it, Brady Cook, Nate Noel are both looking at questionable right now for Missouri.
And I mean, if Brady Cook stays questionable, this is just a guy trying to gut it out, and just trying to make. I mean, I do not see him playing, and I think I brought it up on Sunday when I said, the year that I think we played Oklahoma State, and Mason Rudolph, could not even walk, and he gave it the old college try, but I think it was like 2 picks in the first 3 or 4 series, and they pulled him and put that big dude. Who was that big dude they had? He was like 6'5", 260.
Quarterback? Oh,
what is their backup quarterback? Somebody will pop in here and say it, but dude could not shelf. He was big, and they kept bringing him in. He had a big arm, but he was a statue.
I gotta look it up now. Now I'm very much curious. That was back in what, 15?
Maybe so.
Let me go look. 2015 Bedlam. We destroyed those boys. Baker Mayfield was quarterback, not J.W. Walsh. So it'd be 2016 Bedlam. Come on, somebody in here.
I know it's our backup OSU quarterbacks.
All right. Not 16 because Mason played that game. So let's see if it was 17. Is it
maybe
Werby? See, Rudolph played in that game too.
Not Whedon. Whedon was Landry Jones.
Yeah, I gotta look. Someone said Oklahoma State football. Let me go look at their roster in 2016. Now I'm truly curious.
Regardless, it's like it's just that year. It's like you knew that he wasn't coming in to do anything. But Brady Cook, that ankle didn't look too good. What game was that? The A&M game?
Yeah. A&M was the ankle. No, it was the game they came back in. So it wasn't A&M.
It was
Auburn. Was it Auburn? Or
yes.
Vanderbilt? Vanderbilt. It was Vandy. That's who it was. Because Vanderbilt had that game won, and they somehow just gave it back at the end, which hurt my feelings. It was either that or Auburn, one of the two. Let's look. Let me confirm for you. It was Auburn. My apologies. It was the Auburn game. Yeah, because Auburn was for Alabama. They came back. Auburn should have won the game. Cook's injury let them come back. And then Alabama, he hurt his hand, which I kept seeing on the interwebs. Everybody kept saying it's broken.
Yeah.
So,
but,
yeah.
We'll see. But I don't think, if Drew Pine plays, Jay, that's, you thought that our boy down there, Peyton Thorne, had the propensity to turn the ball over. Drew Pine believes that every bomb is going to be caught by his receiver. So
that's true. It wasn't Taylor Cornelius, was it?
Maybe so.
I'm looking at him as a statue, and it doesn't look like he was a giant human being. He's 6'6", 232 pounds.
I'll dig through here. It's going to have
curious.
to.
I'm actually very curious about this. So Mason Rudolph couldn't play. Yeah. J.W. Walsh. I don't think it was Walsh. I feel like it was Taylor Cornelius.
I'll think about it.
I digress.
Yeah.
It was Cornelius.
Taylor Cornelius. I'll go with that.
We'll go with Cornelius.
That was a quarterback that played at Oklahoma State. So that's the most OSU talk we've done this year.
It's just kind of funny. But anyway, I think it was Cornelius. But anyway, I digress. We got our wide receivers back, it looks like. Probable has been set. You've got Farouk. You've got Deion Burks. I don't know. Calling with the Cornell reference on a Thursday night. Sorry about that, CK. It was, it made sense. But no, Deion Burks, Jalil Farouk playing. Coop, how you feel about that?
I mean, what's the Avengers quote? Don't give me hope. Listen, I think without those two guys, I was feeling like this might be a game that we could put together what we've kind of come up with up to this point, as far as like some offensive scheme, and go out and maybe score 17 to 21 points, and get something off of a turnover. And I think that their offense has not been as explosive this year as it was last year. That's just plain simple truth. What is Theo Weiss, the leading receiver, with like 508 yards or something like that? Like, this was supposed to be, outside of like production wise, this was like one of the top most returning offensive production. Now, that's with Noel coming from Appy State, right? One of the running backs transferred in from Appy State, one from Georgia State. So
I think Nate Noel's the Georgia State running back.
Okay. Well, regardless, you bring in two guys that are 5'9"ish, pretty small cats from lower seed football, and that Schrader.
I'm sorry, Nate Noel is App State. You were right.
Oh, okay. Bang.
Oh, bang. Yeah. 5'10", 190 from Miami, Florida. So yeah, Nate Noel, but he's also on the questionable list.
Goodness gracious. Well, I guess that. Do you take this offense that has struggled for most of the year and put them up against OU with a little bit of a, we're in a 1-game season from here on out. So like OU is going to throw everything at it, defensively and offensively.
No, I totally agree. Drew Pine throwing the balls. I don't know if there's much to be fear. Drew Pine.
Well, let's just be honest. One of the best, most methodic drives of the season was the opening game against Temple. And Farouk catches that bomb, and then they squeeze it in a couple of plays later. When you have receivers that, I don't know, they feel comfortable, running deep routes and run and goes. If you get a couple of these guys back and you start loosening up, the middle of the field, I think it's a good thing. There's nothing bad. Do I expect either of them to go for like 10 catches and 100 yards? No, but hell, 4 for 60 would be pretty dope. Just having a couple guys you can throw in there with the Brennan Thompson still. I still think that he's just busting his backside. He's running wide open a lot. You mix him and the Jordan kid, you throw those two guys in there, and Bauer Sharp's kind of catching himself. Maybe Caden Helms gets excited. All of a sudden, this offense kind of we start seeing something different.
I think we're going to see a pulse out of the offense against Missouri. Missouri's down pretty good lick of people, defensive line. Losing your quarterback and your starting running back. Everybody's starting to feel like we feel, right? But no, I'm excited that they went forward, I guess you could say, on the injury report. When I had recorded on Locked On Sooners the other day, the one thing I said was that they showed up as questionable. I'm probably out on the idea of them playing. But because we'll get at least 3 reports, if they ever make it to probable, then I do believe that they will play. Now that they're probable, I am in the camp of we're going to see both of them. Now, granted, I still feel like most of you do until they actually get on the field and take a snap. Then I don't believe that they actually exist this season just because we've been dealing with so much snake bitten setback. But if they both remain probable or they come off the list by Friday or Saturday morning, granted, we know they're going to travel with the team. I think they're good. I did see that Javonte Barnes, it was mentioned in here, Barnes is still showing up as questionable.
Yeah.
For the uninitiated, he did get injured against Maine. He just went back in the game, which I thought that was kind of interesting. And he still finished with over 200 yards rushing. I'm wondering, and Topher mentioned in here, it sounds like swelling in the ankle. So, ice it down. Prayfully that my man comes back healthy. But you know what? I'll take Taylor Tatum and Xavier Robinson. Wouldn't that be a fun backfield?
I'm just going to be strictly honest with you, Jay. I'm a little freaked out that the protection stuff would become an issue. Unless you can run a lot of the two back set and then just, run some play action out of that. I was listening to Gabe for past couple of episodes. He keeps bringing up like we're running a lot of play action, like power boot, action, but we're not running outside zone. I think that you're going to have to maybe have some faith in the unproven offensive line this week because you need to throw up. And listen, we talked about it on Sunday is of the top 15 defenses, in the SEC or whatever, like we've already played the top guys as far as like rushing goes, best defensive line, stuff like that. Missouri has a good defensive line, but Missouri, Alabama, and LSU, I think, are giving up. They're towards the bottom third. They're in the bottom third of the SEC as far as yards per game given up rushing. And I think that this is really, really, really going to be a game to where we need to go out and establish some kind of a pulse with running game because if you don't, now you're putting everything right back on Jackson on the road. Do we want to do that? Do you want to put so much on these receivers, so early? That's the good thing. That's a good thing that you could say about Farouk is Farouk knows the damn playbook, front to back.
Yeah, he does.
He's a very, 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 very experienced guy. So that's good because now that he's going to be running the right depths on his routes, hopefully, and where he's going to be. Jackson maybe take some. You take somebody else like a Farouk or a Burks and put them in. It's going to really free up Brendan Thompson because now that safety can't really cheat too far back. And Brendan Thompson still runs wide open sometimes. So now I'm rambling though, but I think that Jay, this is the wide receivers coming back. Everybody's going to think, oh, now we can go out and toss the ball around. I really think that if you sat down the coaching staff, they would probably say, I don't want Jackson throwing more than 21 to 23 times this game. We want to establish the run. We want to get that going. And they want to experience a lot of that rushing success they did. I know it was against Maine, but they want to see that again.
And that's what we need. We need to establish the run. Run games travel, so do defenses. And having a run game that gains enough yards to eat clock, that's how Vanderbilt's been beating people. They've been eating the heck out of the clock and just moving the ball. We've got to move the ball. And if anything, moving the ball on third down. That's where that's the one thing I am looking for in this game. Can we get some third down conversions? It's the only thing I care about. We get third down conversions, we're winning this game. Missouri, unfortunately for them, is in shambles with these injuries. If Cook, I put it this way, Cook plays, he's going to get hit probably a couple times and come right back out.
Yeah.
He's not going to last. And I assume that we're going to be very aggressive in this game. And yes, Missouri is 12th in the SEC in rushing defense, giving up 134. Bama's at 144, at 14th in the SEC. And shockingly, we're 4th. We are 4th. We're only giving up 106 yards per game, right behind Texas at 105, Tennessee at 90, and Ole Miss at 82. And we were actually able to run on Ole Miss. But then that gets to the next question, Coop. Who's going to play on the offensive line? I know we're excited about getting wide receivers, but I mean, I don't know if y'all noticed this also on that report, but you got Michael Tarkin, you've got Jake Taylor, as well as Jacob Sexton on the list. And Sexton and Taylor are both out. They're not playing. I don't even expect to see them play this season.
No.
Tarquin is questionable right now. Still,
he has the ankle issue also, right?
And it was an ankle thing as well, and that's why he didn't play against Maine. Which, I mean, granted, do you really need to play against Maine? No, not really. But having Tarquin over here as questionable kind of concerns me. At this point, the question is, should we go ahead and play Isaiah Autry-Dent for the rest of the season?
I think we see that, brother. I really do.
So where do you play him, right or left?
I think you start him out on the right side.
Because the opposite one is going to be Spencer Brown.
Or Logan Howland.
Logan Howland, it's true.
Because I think Logan Howland, he had some more flashes. He just has that swinging gate situation that Gabe talks about all the time. And if he can fix that, it's going to be better. They don't have the dogs that Tennessee had, Missouri, that is, the defensive line. They don't have the South Carolina guys. They don't have anything like that. Our favorite 5-star freshman DE that we missed out on, he's not seeing a lot of playing time. So, I mean, I think that it's going to be...
Which I'm kind of surprised, to be honest. I would have not expected him to not be playing more, especially with the injury situation that they're dealing with.
Well, it's the motor. That's what, I think we brought up. That was my kind of hesitancy with him was just always the motor. And, it always looked like Kamori, who, congratulations to our boy Kamori, committed to Iowa State today.
Got him home. Congrats, my man.
Yep.
I was excited to see that. I was like, okay, there we go.
Yeah, congratulations to him. But yeah, I thought Kamori was the more disruptive force on that defensive side. But I digress. Let's not talk about him. So I think that you're going to probably see. I'm wondering if you see Logan Howland, Ozida, or sorry, if it's Ozida, I get messed up, especially when we do late shows.
Yeah, it's getting late.
Let's see. I think that
you're gonna have Weiwu, you're gonna have Everett, you're gonna have Ozada.
Everett, Weiwu, and then Autry-Dent. I think he gets the start of the right tackle.
Interesting. Ozida.
I mean,
Ozida. It's Ozida.
I know. Mama went after me. Not really. She DM'd me a while back on it. It was pretty funny.
Ozida.
But
so
yeah,
Heath Ozida with Everett and Weiwu. I'm not concerned about the interior. I think Ozida has done well at left guard so far. It's always been tackle. If Logan Howland can get that nasty streak,
yeah,
right. If he just gets nastier out there and really just be hitting people, uses that strength that he has, he'd be a really good left tackle.
Hey, listen, our boy Josh McQuiston, he's seen stuff in Logan a lot longer than a lot of people have. He loved him. He kind of spoke with him in the same breath of, Jacob Sexton, that type of thing. Just the absolute fluidity and capability. Yeah, you just get that mean streak. And I think that's what these younger kids, that's what maybe they do that together. Maybe it's, they bond that together. You throw in EPL at some point. Maybe it rubs off on a couple of the other ones.
Between him and BJ Brooks, I'd love to see both of them get out there soon. I don't expect it, but I would love to see them get out there very soon and just go run through somebody's face. But again, it's one of those, once you learn the playbook, boom, you're good to go. Since EPO didn't come in the summer, still got some time to catch up. But he looked pretty good getting, that personal foul everybody loved at the last game. But we'll talk about that another time. I like the fact. So looking at the list, PJ, we saw him get hurt. I think that was his ankle also. It's like everybody got the ankle
Yeah.
rolled upon, like the last few games. It's just been ankle rolls. It's kind of sad. It hurts my feelings. So I anticipate seeing Isaiah Autry-Dent throughout this entire game. He'll probably sub in a couple of times, especially since Missouri's lost both of their defensive ends. Was that Joe Moore as well as Darius Smith? I had the list pulled up. Yeah. Darius Smith. Both of them are both out. I saw Caden Green's on the probable list right now.
Well,
interesting. I wonder if they don't play him in this game.
I'm pretty sure that he'd have some teammates that would like to say what's up. Because I promise you this is if he goes out there, he's going to have a good rotation of Jaden Jackson, who wasn't here. He just wants to get better every game, and he's been giving people fits all over the place. And then, or you get to one of the big unmovable stones in Dom or DJ Terry. So I mean, I think that he's going to have himself. He may not get abused. He may not be giving up a bunch of sacks or anything like that, but you're going to see him in the backfield quite often.
That's true. All right, so what do you need to see on offense to feel confident in a win? What is the thing needed to win this game on offense? We'll talk defense in a minute.
Yeah, let's do three things real fast. Number one is Jackson continues the good decision making. He's not put the ball in harm's way anytime here recently, and so I'm going to just knock on wood that he continues going that route. The offensive line, just I don't care. We saw it in Auburn. Over communicate. Tell the damn defense what you're about to run. I'd rather you both know it because you said it out loud and you executed, because you get a stalemate at best, and that gives Jackson some time. Whereas if you don't communicate, somebody's going to get dumped down on. And then I think the last thing is I said it already. You've got to be able to have the running backs take advantage of every single hole that they get the opportunity. We need to take advantage of every single, separation at wide receiver that we get the chance. If you get the ball, it hits you in the hands, catch the damn ball. Like we can't afford. Just don't beat ourselves. Because I promise
the hard part. Yes.
Yeah. If the defense goes out and does what I think they're going to do, and then the offense goes out and just don't beat yourself. That's penalties, drops, just massive mental busts. Just don't do those things. I'm not, on the offensive line, if we're going to run 2 or 3 concepts, we're going to run zone insert, or inside zone, and we're starting to see some of the athleticism of some of these guys a little bit. These are the more athletic kids. I mean, that's what's going to happen. Is you're going to, as we get further and further away. I mean, these are guys that Bill Bedenbaugh saw and felt good about. So we're going to see some of the GC counter again, and that's exciting. But I think the outside zone is really going to be something that I want to see more than I can express myself. Yeah, you get that going. It's maybe that's 4 things, but get the running game going, but just don't beat yourself.
I think for me, what's most important is no turnovers.
Yeah.
You're keeping the ball in hand. I'm all about the run game still. I said it before. I've said it on numerous times. Run
Very
games
much.
travel. Just go run it down their throat. Go muscle them. Show them that you're tougher. That's the thing I've missed that we haven't had really this season, is just going out there pushing dudes around. Just go push them around, right? Exert your dominance. We can do that. Do that, especially with them, missing, key offensive players. They're going to rely heavy on their defense. And we've seen, Boston College was running all over them. Vanderbilt was running all over them. We can get that going too. I mean, Jackson Arnold's got wheels. He knows how to find holes. We can do that. And then if you end up playing Taylor Tatum with Xavier Robinson, or you put Caleb Hicks out there and get him some run. I don't know, make a Mega if he looks like he's healthy enough and you get him out there. Just go run it down their throat. That's critical. Run it down their throat, minimize the turnovers. I agree with you, Topher. Get the run game going, minimize turnovers. And then the one thing you did say, Coop, I want to see the space with the wide receivers.
Yeah.
With Farouk and Burks coming back, you should see much better spacing. With that, the young guys should be able to see what you're supposed to do in game in order to get open. Keep moving.
Very much.
Don't stop. Don't slow down. Keep that going. That's going to be important. All right, let's talk defense. But first, word from the sponsors. Talk about Prize Picks real quick. It's been the most fun I've had playing daily fantasy sports this football season, y'all. It's easy. All you got to do is take 2 or more players, pick more or less on their stats, and then boom, within 60 seconds or less, you are playing. And they offer their weekly promotions. Taco Tuesday is the one I like the most just because 1 is tacos and I love tacos too. You get a discount up to 25% on player projections, which gives you a little bit of an edge and more value. And now with hoop season starting, you can take advantage of all that. So go check them out. Prize Picks. Go to prizepicks.com. Use our code UNFAIR to receive a guaranteed $50 when you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, daily fantasy sports, made easy. And so, Coop, defense-wise, I'm wondering, do you think the defense will score a point in this game? Right.
Here, yeah, like, do they have the capability? Yes. Like, are they going to get the opportunity? Yes. They're starting to, Missouri's not super confident they're not going to be coming in this game super confident.
Not they normally were. I think they've been all season. They've been super confident up until like now.
Yeah. And so how does that play out from the standpoint on how does I always want to say Pinkel, but
Drinkwitz.
How does Drink call this, want this game called? Because me personally, Jay, I would say, here's the thing. We're going to go out. We're going to be super methodical on offense. If we don't get it, that's okay. We're going to get opportunity after opportunity after opportunity, and we don't have to score 35. All we got to do out here is go out. Like, if you allow them to get into that mode where they are dinking and dunking and seeing success, the tight end has kicked our ass a couple weeks in a row. Ole Miss really did some good stuff with the tight ends against us. And it loosened up the defense a tad bit, because now instead of our guys who are very, very aggressive at the line of scrimmage, like instead of them crashing down, they're kind of wondering about that, next tight end that's going to slip back behind them. And so I don't think that Missouri has, the tight end that, the Preeksorn kid that Ole Miss had. But if they decided to play this game extremely methodical, I think that serves them better. Now, if they come out and they're like, hey, we're just going to play our offense and we're going to go, then they're going to make mistakes. And
I agree.
And that's where because we saw it with Heupel in the Tennessee game. He said, nope, no more. He's like, all we got to do is just punt the ball and just run out on defense and we're going to be fine. We got a lead. They're not scoring. And we've seen it from, nobody could really pull away, and continue. Like, you get us on a couple, and sure, like that's we're always going to give something up. But I just think this defense is something really, really ready for Missouri. Because essentially, we heard that they practiced on Missouri last week too.
So it's a possibility. Yeah. I know we want this game. I know we're ready to go. We're ready to go for this one. I'm just hoping we didn't over-prepare and we really go out there and go hit these dudes.
Yeah.
And just end it. Get it over with. Zion Young, so we want to keep your eyes on him and Johnny Walker. Tulsa boy, Chris McClellan. You got to make sure you watch out for him. He's got 3 sacks this season so far. So He's been doing decent. Like I said, their run game defense has been But on our side, on the defensive side, I really want us to get at least 4 sacks in this game. I think that's the thing that'll tell me if we're doing well. Is because I know that most likely if, and we're going to keep saying if until it's official, Cook doesn't play, if Pine's out there, they're going to try to get the ball out of his hands as fast as possible. And I think Topher mentioned this earlier too. One thing that they're going to try to do very quickly is do like a whole bunch of like jet sweeps. They're going to try to get Luther Bird in space and let him do his thing. Kind of like Ryan Wingo, like Texas does with him, or, Ohio State does with Jeremiah Smith. Yeah, they're going to try to get that dude in space, get the ball in his hands, and just let him go juke folks. Think we'll be prepared for that, but we got to keep pressure on Pine. If Cook's out there, make him scramble. Make him use that ankle. Keep him in pain. And so...
You're going to see if Cook runs out there, you're probably going to see either Danny or Sammy or one of the other safeties coming in on a blitz because we're going to try to get him off his spot. Let's see how that works because you also got to think that he's going to be a little hesitant just winging the ball around with that hand too. So
true.
Yeah, I mean, Steven, I'm down with that comment. You just line up Eli Bowen right on the other side of Burden and just say, go get it. Because I think that whether it's Dez or whether it's Jacoby Johnson or Kanai, I mean, Theo Weiss isn't going to burn you. He's not a speed, merchant like he was kind of coming out of high school. He's a good possession receiver, and then they have the other guy. This is a Mookie
Cooper. He's doubtful. I think he's out.
All right, so then you're probably going to see a world where
he's doubtful right now.
Okay, if the game stays close, you're going to see a world where Luther Burden probably touches the ball in excess of 12 times. That's a pretty good. Now if we were to cause some chaos and the offense comes out with a pulse and we get up by a couple scores, that might be a game to where he just comes and is a decoy on some of the routes.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. They're gonna have to get the ball. They're gonna spend most of the time with the ball in Luther Burton's hands. Even Theo Weiss, as good as he is, they're gonna have to find a way to keep the ball in Burton's hands at all times.
And I mean, if you're down one of the running backs already, that's tough too because that being the smaller guys, because that would be the Jacksons, or is that Jackson? Was it Georgia State? They're the cats from Georgia State, and I don't think that he's a 35 carry back, or I don't think that he can hold that up. So now who else are we going to be bringing in? It's a hard feeling, Jay, because I feel so much confidence in this game, but it's like I'm not completely out of the loop of what's happened the previous 7 weeks. It's just tough.
I think this is a pretty hot take. J.A. throws for 275 if both wide receivers are a go. Keaton, you might be right. That may be that's a pretty spicy one. I still got to see what the offensive line does. Yeah,
and just don't make the same mistake over and over again. Like that's pretty much it. Is don't make the same mistake. Gabe said that was it the Ole Miss game that gave them 10 sacks, but really 4 of them were on like quarterback scrambles, where it's tackle for loss.
Yeah.
So like that sounds a little bit more palatable, even though 9 sacks the week before, but it's can it get worse? I don't think it can. Can it?
I don't think so.
So you just hope that Jackson can. If he's going to get hit a lot, then let's just hope to God that he can hold up.
Yeah, that's going to be the question. It's how well is this young offensive line going to play in this game on the road? Oh, yeah, Topher, thanks for saying that. Shout out to Jaden Jackson. Happy birthday. Young man.
Yes, happy birthday, Jaden. I was
Hopefully he gets a sack this weekend. I would like to see that.
Let's get 2. Why the hell not?
Yeah, I think we need to get at least 4 sacks though on the defensive side.
I think that's good. And I'd like to get us back up above 10 tackles for loss. It's been a few weeks since we've been up there on the TFLs.
That's true. Turnover wise too. Yeah.
Yeah, just reset. I mean, just reset the the line of scrimmage every single play. That's what you can do. This offensive line is not stellar, and that there's a couple holes, and you get them guessing on who's coming from where, like Brett Venables could do, or you get these guys executing some of these twists and these stunts. It could be a bad. You get Drew Pine moving around and speeding the game up for him, he will reward you.
Yeah, we need more of those. Totally here for that. Let's get some interceptions. Let's get some interceptions thrown. He threw 3 against Alabama out of his 12 passes. 3 of them were picks. 6 of them were completed.
And it's not like Alabama earned any of those. One of them, the guy just literally had under coverage, and it hit him right in the chest. Another one, he just threw it right down the middle of the field, threw it on the field side of a route on the sideline, and Alabama's guy was in better space than he was. So he's going to give you the opportunity. And no to Jonte Cook. Jonte Cook can go play at Texas State.
Yeah, no, we're not going to do anything with Jonte Cook. I don't think we'll have any interest. That sounds like that was not a very good situation there. Steven got a good question here. What should Joe John Finley do this game to get an interview for a permanent OC job?
Invent a time machine. That's pretty much it. I think he's coaching for something else in the future. Just not here. And but he still is the coach here, and I still would like to see a little winning streak at the end of the year here. I think that you got to show that this offense is getting better all 3 weeks that you've been the play caller.
We've seen progression.
Step 1. Yeah, that's step 1. You can't disappear for large chunks of the game. I think that's it. If the offense starts, really struggling, you can't do 3 straight 3-and-outs. Get better on third down. Show some improvement on third down, because third down has this might be the worst team I've ever seen on third down conversion. I don't know if there's another one out there. Even Iowa, they couldn't score, but even they could move the ball, 2 years ago. So yeah, that's it. Is I want to see the third down conversions. Just look like we had a plan. Just look like we got a damn plan.
So I'd say if you want to guarantee him a interview opportunity, 500 yards of offense. That's really it. 500 yards of offense. He gets 500 yards of offense, then they're going to be like, all right, we'll let you, because he's going to interview regardless. But I think that's one to look at. Rex had a good one earlier. Top 2 OC candidates. I'll be honest, is one reason why I haven't talked much about the offensive coordinator job or who I really have on my list of people, because I need to see what jobs are going to be available. In today's game, everyone is chasing an offensive-minded coach. Even though most of your offensive-minded coaches do not win you national championships. Like right now, perfect example. Oregon they're undefeated right now. Yep. Oregon has a defensive-minded head coach in Dan Lanning. Kirby Smart, defensive-minded head coach, right? So a lot of your defensive-minded people are the ones that They grab an offensive coordinator, get him in for a couple of years, offensive coordinator leaves, and they switch it up. But you also got to look at, you need someone that's going to be able to handle the pace of your team. Like right now, Indiana's undefeated. Everybody's looking at Shanahan. I don't know if he leaves Signotti. I don't think he leaves him. It just doesn't feel like he would leave. And the question is, what's the next job opening? Because there's always a possibility that he ends up getting a head coaching job based upon who gets axed over the next 2 weeks. But if I was to think of two based upon ones that match the pace of what we would want based upon the way our offense plays, I look at Joe Craddock down there at Tulane. Very good with time of possession, strong run game, passing game is also solid, but they figure out ways to get the offensive line going even if they're undersized. Tulane does pretty well with him. Joe's one to look at. Next one, I'm looking at the guys down there at Texas State. Probably Leftwich, the offensive coordinator. He's one I'm looking at. I'm not looking at Brennan Marion. Think he's a great coach. I don't know if that's going to make it in the SEC. You got to remember, gimmicky offenses do not last in the SEC for very long. Like at all.
No.
We've seen Kirby Smart. We've seen Nick Saban sniff all of that out, and a lot of those defensive minds are still in the SEC. Let's put it this way. Look at how Lane Kiffin and Josh Heupel have been playing this season. Besides how Lane did last week against Arkansas, that was their first game over 25 first game over 30 points in the SEC this season. Sorry, couldn't get it out. But in non-conference, they blast everybody. Mm-hmm. In conference, there's struggles. LSU doesn't have a very good defense. That's the reason why their scores are always so high. We've seen that with everybody they played. But SEC sniffs that stuff out. If you're building your offense to face a team like Georgia, you don't want to go in there in a gimmick. No. They will sniff you out quickly.
Really what it is what made Mike Leach's offense great. Well, it was revolutionary, and it's changed a lot of stuff. But those offenses and speed D, we all remember that. All those things are made to basically just cause chaos when you are out athleted. And but that there's a big difference, because when you go in the SEC and they are faster than you by a significant amount. And so I just don't see it. I don't see the go-go offense being something that, I to be honest with you, I don't know if Brent Venables cares too much for that.
He probably doesn't. You need something that's going to, like I said, complement yours. And Chester, I see, yeah, we struggled. Yes, we've watched. Look at what Ole Miss and Tennessee's doing right now. Josh Heupel's an offensive genius, struggling getting the points that they normally would get. Is that what you want to? So you can continue to complain? No, I don't. Yeah. I'm trying to get something we can put up. I'm trying to get something that's going to give us time of possession and defense. That's two things I'm looking at. And T, you make a good point. Money talks. That's why I said head coaching job. That's why I didn't say OC job. Probably going to get a head coaching job. Most of those dudes get head coaching job opportunities. And I heard that there's already people circling Shanahan for a head coaching job.
Yeah. Somebody will take that pretty quickly, especially, man, you just got to think about it. Will he end up in the SEC? I don't know. I think that he'll probably recycle in the Big Ten, so that might be a situation where he can get himself, you never know what's going to happen at Michigan. So, because does the NCAA want to try to flex, or do they just kind of let stuff go naturally?
Right. But I think Craddock is probably one of the highest on the list. I've seen a few articles talking about that. And with Craddock, he has ties to BV. He worked at Clemson. Yeah. Right. Just like Zach Alley had ties to BV because he worked with him at Clemson. So there's a connection there. And like I said, again, his offense is very well paced, and he can put up big numbers if you need to. It's just hard, man. Like I said, my struggle with the ranking of OCs and candidates is I like to be as realistic as possible, while the reality of all of this is that when head coaching jobs open, they always go for offensive guys as first. That's who they always go for. Like, it's rare to see the situation where Dan Lanning gets that job. That's why Dan Lanning's one of like 5 defensive guys. Fran Brown got the job at Syracuse because Syracuse said, screw it, we need to just figure out something new. And so they went and got the DB coach from Georgia. You see what I mean? So it's tough. Saban was a defensive guy, Kirby defensive guy, BV defensive guy. So that's where this is going to be tough for BV, because going for offensive coordinators, you're not going to keep anybody longer than 2 years, especially if they're successful. If you get the offensive coordinator that all the fans want, all the fans are excited about, you're not going to have longer than 2 years. So you're going to be doing this exact same cycle again. That's what we got to prepare ourselves for. We're going to be doing this again, and then again, and then again, and then again.
Yeah.
And then again.
Well, it's whatever happens, we said it, pretty significantly. Do the process the appropriate way, right? Let's make the process happen. You need a quarterback coach who is going to be able to develop a quarterback. That's extremely important, because you can't just hope that them running the offense over and over and over again is going to make them a better quarterback, because there's a lot more to it than that. So
yeah,
we'll get Jeff Love back.
Why would Levy leave a head coaching job to come back? Just serious question, Corey. Can you elaborate on that? Why would he leave a head coaching job to come back? Because he's only in his first year, and every coach gets at least 3 years. I could see Levy coming back if he gets fired in 3 years. But I'm talking about today. Who's leaving a head coaching job to come be an offensive coordinator? That's in there, especially an SEC head coach. They're not going nowhere. Chester, you're asking about Malzone. Malzone's head coach at UCF, and he just fired his DC, so they gave him a vote of confidence. He's going to come back. I don't know if Dan Mullins wants to be an offensive coordinator, though. That name has been brought up a lot.
I've heard it.
But I wonder if he's going to end up getting a ACC head coaching job. Because there's going to be some job openings in the ACC. And that might be an easy conference to go into. It's funny because it's funny to think about. Like, I think about like the Mike Norvell situation and how awful Florida State is. If Florida State could afford to get rid of him, he would be one of the hot offensive coordinators in college football. Yeah. Because he did some magic at Memphis. And he did magic at Florida State his first couple of years.
Yeah, Dan Mullen at North Carolina.
There you go. I can see Mac Brown getting fired. Not Jones. Mac Jones is in Jacksonville as a backup to Trevor Lawrence. But I could totally see Mac Brown getting fired and Dan Mullen taking that job. That's an intriguing one. But again, I also say that on the waiting for jobs to open, because what head coach that end up getting fired would we possibly could take? Like, I know there was a lot of one name that was thrown out was Billy Napier, but he's gotten a vote of confidence. He ain't going nowhere. Yeah. Unless they said that to get dudes to commit and then go can him after they sign. That would be awful.
Doesn't sound very Florida to me.
That's a very good point. That's a very good point. That does sound Florida. What other head coaches that may end up losing their jobs that will be of interest? Because I say this, I know some people are going to be like, oh, why would you want somebody that got fired from their job? That's what Nick Saban did. He hired Lane Kiffin, he hired Steve Sarkisian. Fired head coaches that had really good offenses. He brought them in and let them change the way their offenses are running. Yeah. And it worked. You got the talent with it, and then boom, the offenses went out there and blew up. That's what you got. That's the way you got to look at it. And so I'm trying to figure out what head coach could be someone to consider. That's what I'm wondering about. He's in the NFL with the Seattle Seahawks. They're doing actually really good right now. That's what Ryan Grubb is. Ryan Grubb's offensive coordinator of Seattle Seahawks. He ain't going nowhere. He got the easy job. He ain't got to recruit. That's funny. That's a funny one, Corey. Mike McCarthy. Would you consider that, Coop?
No. No.
Has his offense been that bad that we just be like, nah, I'm good?
I mean, you know what being the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys is like. I mean, it's just, yeah, you are, unable to do everything that you want to do because you got somebody up above you. Now,
they're saying absolutely not. They're saying no, which is so funny. It's true. There's very few NFL coaches I would expect to would be willing to go down to college. Yeah, there's very few that I could name that would possibly do that.
Yeah.
He's like, once you get the taste of the NFL and you get that freedom, time off. But some of them do love it, though. I'm not going to lie. There's some people. I mean, heck, you see Bill O'Brien's back. He didn't went back and forth like 3 times. And he's not doing too bad at Boston College. I think it's funny. I think a lot of them would consider going to smaller schools where they know recruiting isn't as hectic as it is at the big schools. Cush job, make 7 figures, work.
Yeah, no, it's, and again, there's a lot of coaches that want nothing to do. I mean, I think that Harbaugh was pretty much over the a lot, but the recruiting piece, and he was more than happy to go. Now, I don't think he had much of a choice because he'd probably be suspended. But a lot of these guys. Who's the cat? Who's the Tampa Bay OC?
Liam.
Yeah, Liam Cohen. He was the
Liam
OC
Cohen
at Kentucky. Yeah, you don't have to do that anymore. You literally just get to do offense and do football, and that's probably a lot easier than having your 5th meeting of the week from a player that's asking for more NIL.
Yeah.
But I guess
McCarthy is such a funny one to see. That's a funny name to mention. I would have never even thought about him.
It's funny. When I thought of him, but everybody was like, Mark Mangino.
What is Mangino doing? Now, I think if there's an old head coach that, well, actually, I wouldn't want this to happen, but I would like him to come as an analyst. It's Kevin Wilson.
Yeah, Kevin Wilson is a name that a lot of people thrown away around also. And if I'm not mistaken, didn't Kevin and Wilson and Brent Venables always get into it, or was it Kevin Wilson and Mike Stoops?
No, it was Kevin Wilson and Venables.
That would be crazy.
That was back when Venables' defense they couldn't move the ball against them. Sam Bradford couldn't move the ball on the Venables' defense because they would go back and forth in battle. So let's do that. Give me that.
And Lincoln Riley. Everybody, I've heard Lincoln Riley. First of all, I think his buyout's like $80 million or something like that. So
him and Mike Norvell have a ginormous buyouts. They're not losing their jobs for like 3 years.
So I mean, would you say, hey, Link, come on back, like as an OC? I find that more palatable than Kevin Durant coming back on the Thunder. Like,
I actually could see Kevin Durant coming back on the Thunder before that.
Really?
I could see Presti doing it. Before that, before Lincoln Riley comes. But I don't see Kevin Durant coming back.
Yeah.
So
who were fans rougher on, KD or Tebow?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Because like
fans have been burned so many times.
Yeah,
much pain.
KD, we called him Cupcake for. Still, I'm guessing that people still call him Cupcake, and But I mean, Riley got TBOW. Like that's what we know him about around here. So yeah. All right.
Look at this. Missouri doomed. I'm going to go ahead and let me go ahead and boot you. I know exactly who this is.
I can't hear.
I'm going to boot you. Yeah, no, there's no hope. Mizzou doomed. Ronald Salter's hurt.
Yeah.
He's injured. He hurt his hamstring before Ole Miss. And he is questionable on the contract. He's questionable on the availability right now. Let me see. Yep, he's listed as questionable. Him and Barnes. And Bates is dropped to doubtful. So yeah.
Yep.
There's a good chance though. Possibility. But anyway.
Hey, do you think we see any backtracking on the Bird app from people saying that our receivers were sitting out for NIL so they could transfer and everything? Do you think we'll see any backtracking, or do you think that
the minute that they go on the field, no.
And catch the ball?
They catch a pass. The minute they catch a pass, people will shut up about that.
Yeah, it's you know what's crazy is, we forget that going into the season, we were trying to convince ourselves that the offensive line wasn't going to be so bad that it wouldn't hold us out from being a top 10 offense. And now, as we're like the hell that we've ridden through this entire year, now it's literally not even the starting offensive line. We're now on like our third string in some places and the second string. So go rewind 8, 9, 10 weeks. And if I just told you the offensive line is going to be worse than you imagine it to be, I don't think I could have imagined it any worse than I was kind of nervous about. But
yeah,
we achieved it.
Yeah. So tomorrow's injury report availability, tomorrow's player availability will probably be the last one. It'll be the one that'll be set in stone. So with the guys being probable now, I'm sensing they're coming off the list. And we'll find out who traveled with the team and who didn't. So, Coop, final score. What's the score going to be? Give me your score in the comments as well.
I mean, I think that I'm not going to go out and say that we're going to score 40, but I mean, I think it's something along the lines of 32-10. I mean, I think it's decisive. There's not going to be any, but I think that the offense. I mean, this is a step up from Maine. Obviously, I 100% understand that, but I think that just like you said last time, seeing the ball go in the hoop, I think that that's going to help this, and I do think that there's a little bit more want than just to win the game. You kind of want to send a message here.
Yeah, it feels like that yeah, this is wanted badly. I am 26-10. I think it's a defense dominated game, and I think we win the game 26-10. Missouri's biggest problem is they don't really have anybody to throw the ball or run the ball like they would like.
Yeah.
Because I'm telling you, Brady Cook plays, we're going to blitz hard enough to get a couple licks on him to where his ankle's going to bother him or his throwing. Because the hand injuries is throwing hand. That's everything.
Yeah. And you come down on the helmet one time and smiles are not following you.
It's done. And they've got a couple offensive linemen out. So I'm saying, I'd say 26-10. 28-10. If we can get a goose egg like Alabama did, I'd be even happier.
Hey, single digits and I'll be happy.
Oh, single digits would be amazing. That would just put a smile on my face. Because then I would love to see all the whining on the social medias. As Kim mentioned at the beginning of the show. Thank you so much, Kim, for pointing this out. We're gonna play this here. Players, we're going to end with this. That's why you don't feed strays. They hang around. With that, shout out to Prize Picks. Thanks for sponsoring the show. Use our code UNFAIR. Get $50 when you bet your first $5 lineup. Drop your score predictions down, and yeah, we will chop it up with y'all after the Missouri game. Peace.